I literally could wear this makeup forever. I absolutely love how this looks. I do not want to wash it off. We all know that fresh makeup is really in right now. You know, the clean girl aesthetic where we have like cream blushes and lip oils and just a very fresh overall healthy look. And don't get me wrong, I love that look. However, I was on Instagram today and I follow a lot of celebrity makeup artists and I started seeing a bunch of really gorgeous full glam makeup looks. And you guys, it has been way too long since I've sat down and done like an extra tutorial where I do those extra steps and where I like just really indulge in some of my favorite products and just do something more snatched, you know? I'm craving it. It made me crave that so badly because I have been thoroughly enjoying a very simple, fresh look for an everyday basis. But today I was like, I need to do something glam. As you can see, I already did my brows off camera. I spent so much more time. I used to spend so much more time on my brows a few years ago when I did more of these extra steps. So that's what I did. I filled it in with my same products. I just used my Benefit pencil, but then I took my RCMA concealer palette and went around the edges. And then I also covered up my eyelids and then set the entire thing with my Huda Beauty setting powder. So that's where we're at right now. So for eyeshadow, I'm going to be using my Makeup by Mario Master Mattes eyeshadow palette. I'm going to be starting off with this second lightest shade right here. And I'm using my Makeup by Ariel Morphe brush collection. This is the A11 brush. This brush collection, you guys, if you don't have this and you need a great brush collection, look no further. I use these brushes every single day. I'm not even kidding. I'm just gonna start blocking out my transition area with this. I'm bringing the color in a little bit and fluffing it up toward the front of my brow slightly. Same thing on this side. Okay, next we're gonna go into this shade. It's the deepest shade on the top row, Matte 4. And I'm just gonna start to kind of create a little bit of definition on this outer edge using this color, and then going into the crease just on the outer portion to really start to define this area. I'm actually not gonna do anything too crazy on the eyes. I'm really just wanting to keep it more matte and more sculpted for today's look. I'm going to move into my favorite shade in the palette, which is the lightest shade. I love this because when I use it on my eyelid, I really feel like it helps to create such a gorgeous shape to my eye. So I'm just going to start by pressing this onto this inner portion, and then I will slowly start to build this up to create more of a defined crease right here. Something that Makeup by Ariel does is he takes a lighter shade with a look like this and brings it a little closer to the nose. So that's what I'm going to imitate. I'm taking my fluffy brush and just blending the edges so that there's a nice smooth gradient from the light shade to the outer corner shade. All right, now I'm gonna take my eyeliner. I'm gonna use my Charlotte Tilbury double-ended eyeliner. This is these super nudes. I love this because there's a dark brown on one side and then a nude on the other side. And I'm just gonna start halfway across my eyelid and just create a little bit of definition using the pencil first. Then I'm going to take an angled brush and dip into the second deepest brown color. I'm just going over that eyeliner to create a little bit of soft definition. I am going to wing it out, but I'm going to create the definition on this inner portion all the way to the edge first before I work on bringing out that wing. Okay, I'm not going to lie, I'm not the best at winged liner, but I am going to do my best. Starting off with that deep brown, and then I am going to dip into the matte black shade in the palette on the same brush just to deepen up that outer corner. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do the other eye. I'm going to match it as best as I can to this eye, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, so I tried to get it as even as possible. I am going to take a makeup wipe and use my fingernail underneath the wipe to really try to get as precise of a line as possible and to wipe away any fallout underneath the eyes. I'm looking forward and I'm just kind of relaxing my eyes and then filling in the gaps using a little more brown eyeshadow. When I close my eyes, it's going to give me a little bit of a different shape. When I'm looking forward, I want it to just be very relaxed, if that makes sense. We're just trying new things today, okay? I'm gonna go in with my L'Oreal Voluminous Lash Paradise Mascara, and I'm gonna really load up the top lashes with this. Okay, we're gonna move into complexion. I'm gonna use one of my fancy primers. This is the Victoria Beckham Cell Rejuvenating Priming Moisturizer. I wanted to really treat myself today, so I'm using some of my fancier products. If you're following along and you don't have this primer, all you would need is something glowy. You could even mix a liquid highlight with a moisturizer to create a very, very similar glowy base. Okay, well that went south kind of quickly. It's actually pilling up because of the skincare that I'm wearing underneath. I'm trying out a new sunscreen and I don't think that moisturizer liked going on top of this sunscreen, so I'm just gonna redo this. Okay, there we go. For foundation, I'm going to use my Pat McGrath foundation, which I haven't used in a while, but Makeup by Ariel uses this, so I wanted to give it another go. I was almost going to use my NARS one because I love it so much, but I've been wearing it so much that I do want to kind of switch it up for today and use a foundation that I haven't used in a minute. So Pat McGrath it is. I'm going to use my Ariel foundation brush. This is the A24. And I'm just going to start working this into the skin. By the way, if you're wondering, I'm wearing the shade Light 5 in the Pat McGrath foundation. I'm taking what's left off the back of my hand and then going in with my sponge and just pressing that into my complexion. Next, I'm going to use my Makeup by Mario Soft Sculpt Shaping Stick in the shade Light. I love this. I'm going to do a contour before concealer. I've seen both Makeup by Ariel and Patrick Ta do this. The idea behind it is to get more of the facial structure down because apparently you use less concealer when you do bronzer or cream contour first. So I'm just going to use this to sculpt the forehead and the cheekbones. I'm also going to continue that line that we created with the eyeshadow and just take it down the sides of the nose as well. I'm going to use it to shape around the lip a little bit and of course along the jawline and down the neck as well. I'm just going to spend some time here blending this out. I'm going back in with my foundation brush, using what's left on my foundation brush to blend in the edges. I love doing this. I just feel like it really helps cream contour blend into your foundation as seamlessly as possible. And then of course, I'm going to press everything in with my sponge again. All right, now I'm going to mix a concealer. Ariel did this in one of his tutorials. So I'm going to take my RCMA palette. I'm going to kind of put that on the back of my hand. I'm also going to mix in a little bit of my Magic Touch concealer from Anastasia. This is a pretty light shade. This one is number 1, so I'm going to mix 1 and 4 to create the perfect shade for me. And then I'm also going to mix in a little bit of corrector. He did this in one of his videos. I think it was the one with Patrick Starr, where he did his makeup. He mixed in a corrector, so I'm going to mix in a corrector to those 3 things. So I'm just kind of creating my own little concealer cocktail. We'll see how this goes. I've never done this before. I'm just going to start to apply this underneath the eyes. I'm also going to take this on the sides of the nose. I'm dragging what's left kind of down the center of the face or underneath the eyes, more in the center. I'm going to brighten up the chin, sharpen up the sides of the lip. I'm going to highlight a little bit right here. I'm also going down the center of the nose. See, this is something I don't normally do, but we're trying to create a very snatched look. So I'm also taking a bit underneath the contour right here. And I think that's good for now. So I'm going to pick that up on my sponge and just start using my sponge to press this in. I actually really like the texture that the liquid and cream combined created. It's really nice. Okay, now I'm going to do a light layer of powder using the Makeup Forever Ultra HD Setting Powder. I'm going to use a fluffy brush for this. And I'm going to create a light layer on the sides of the face. Ooh, well, I'm going to start on the sides of the face, I guess. And I am also going to bring it kind of underneath the eyes a little bit as well before we go in with a more precise brush in the center. And then I'm going to take the Makeup by Ariel A14 brush, which is my favorite powder brush ever. And I'm going to use that to lock in the under eye area. I'm going to layer over my cream contour with a bronzer. This is my Soft Sculpt bronzer from Makeup by Mario, just to really create more dimension and to further set the cream. Okay, I'm going back into my Mario eyeshadow palette, and I'm going to take the 3rd shade again on the top row on a fluffy brush. I'm going to pinch the brush, and I'm just going to start creating a little bit of soft definition on the lower lash line. I'm taking this shade with a smaller brush, and I'm going right up against that lower lash line, keeping most of the product on this outer edge and then moving it inward to start to define the lower lash line as well. I'm going to take the brush that we used on the top lid with the lightest shade in the palette, and I'm just going to lighten up that inner portion, kind of blending this color into the existing shadows, just to soften that inner corner a little bit more than where I had it. I'm going back in with my Super Nudes liner. I'm using the dark brown. And I'm just going to scribble this between the lashes on the outer 3rd of the lower lash line. I'm going to take what's left on the angled brush that I was using on the top lid and just smudge that out. And then of course I'm going to apply a generous amount of my L'Oreal Lash Paradise mascara to the lower lashes as well. All right, next up we're going to do blush. Ariel always layers his blushes, so I'm going to take my Pat McGrath Flirtatious blush first, which is more of like a neutral. And I'm going to take this on the A22 brush. And I'm going to smile and start to apply this all over the cheeks, focusing more toward the outer portions. Something I've been really liking in some of these celebrity makeup artist looks is more of that grounded blush here and then a pop of pink in this area here. So I'm going to take the new Persona Cosmetics Super Blush in the shade Bubble. This is a very, very bright pink. And I'm going to take just a small amount of this, tap off the excess, and apply it a little bit higher on the cheeks, closer to the eyes. I think this adds such a gorgeous, fun, and fresh pop of color to an otherwise very neutral look. I am going to take my smaller powder brush and just go around the edges of the blush so it's nice and blurred. I'm wiping off any foundation that got on the lips. Before I forget, I do want to add a little highlight, so I'm taking my favorite Dior highlighter quad. I'm going to mix these two shades right here on the very top and just add a little bit of glow to the high points of the cheeks, a little bit down the center of the nose, a little on the cupid's bow, and a little bit above the brow. Okay, I think I'm going to go into the Pat McGrath Contour Lip Liner. I'm wanting a very defined and sculpted lip look today, so I'm just layering this up on the lips, and I'm overlining the lips on the top slightly and on the bottom a little, but I'm keeping the edges in my lip lines. Now I'm just filling in the corners, leaving the center open. And then I think I'm going to take a little bit of Tom Ford Sable Smoke. This is my very first Tom Ford lipstick that I bought. I don't know if I've told you about this yet, but I bought it pretty recently. Sable Smoke is a shade that Mary Phillips uses all the time. This shade was discontinued for a while and they just barely brought it back. So I finally got my hands on it. Let's see how this looks with this lip liner. It's a little more peachy, but I think it's pretty. So I just went ahead and applied that to the center of the lips, and I'm going to take my finger and just blend it all together. I think that's a really nice lip color. I was going to do a gloss, but I kind of like it more on the matte side. So I'm just going to do some slight touch-ups. I'm going to step back and assess the situation. Add a little more bronzer here. I do want a tiny bit of an inner corner highlight. So I'm going to take my same Dior quad and just mix the same two colors. And just apply a little bit of this in the inner corner of my eye. Also, for that extra bright under eye, I'm going to use one of my favorite powders. This is from Makeup Forever. I know Makeup by Ariel also uses these a lot. At least he used to. I don't know if he does anymore, but I still use them. I love them. And I'm going to take this. This one's in the shade R210. Oh, as I dig my nails into it. Whoops. But I'm just going to take a tiny bit of this on my powder brush and just come in here on this inner corner and really brighten this up. I'm just going to tap it to this area. I'm also bringing it down over the pores a little bit. And even just a tiny bit in between the brows and right above the brows. I'm taking some blush, whatever's left on the brush, and just kind of applying it to the forehead, a little on the chin, a little across the nose. And I think I like where everything is at, so I'm going to set the face. Let's see. Today I'll use my Benefit Professional Setting Spray. Just going to go ahead and set the face all over. I'm going to really, really drench the face with setting spray. Once it starts drying down, I always like to take my sponge and just gently press over the entire complexion so that everything looks super seamless and there's zero powdery finish whatsoever. I can't live without brow gel, so I'm going to use my Benefit 24-Hour Brow Setter to lock my brows in place. To me, brow gel makes all the difference. Okay, I'm just going to take my hair down. All right, so that completes this tutorial. I love how this looks. It satisfied my glam cravings, but I still feel like it's very wearable and very natural. So even though it took a few extra steps and took a little extra time to, sculpt everything and do all those little layers, I think it's worth it and I love the results. I literally could wear this makeup forever. I think it's something that's timeless, and especially if you're somebody who wants to look really good in pictures, this is what you want to wear. I just feel like it still looks like me, but a very sculpted version of myself, and it's very airbrushed, very smooth. I absolutely love how this looks. I do not want to wash it off. I'm going to try to keep this on as long as possible today. This was so satisfying for me. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. If you're like me and you've been craving a little bit more glamour in your life, sit down and do a look like this. It's really satisfying, especially in this, really fresh-faced, clean girl aesthetic that we're seeing a lot, which again, I still love. It's really fun to do a little bit more and to have a little bit more of a sculpt on the eyes and in the complexion. I'm very happy with how this turned out. If you're new here, hi, my name is Allie, and I would love for you to join the family. You can do so by hitting the subscribe button. And if you're already a subscriber, but you want to be notified on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, click on the bell after you subscribe, and you'll get a notification every single time I post. If you end up recreating this look or something similar, be sure to tag me over on Instagram. I would love to see your creations. I hope you enjoyed this type of video. If you did, let me know if you'd like to see more videos like this in the comments down below. I hope you all have an amazing day wherever you are, and I will see you in my next video. Love you. Bye!